Well, we made it. 23.1 in the books.
We did it.
We did it. A lot of equipment, a lot of movements, 14 minutes of work. We're going to break it all down for you here on our post 23.1 workout show. So Chelsea, 23.1, what was it?
23.1 was 14.4. Yes. So a little bit before both of our times. So we both sat there like, can you please just tell us what it is? Because we're not sure what 14.4 is. But it was a 14-minute AMRAP of 60 calories, 50 toe to bar, 40 wall ball shots, 30 cleans, and 20 muscle ups.
Woof.
And yeah, for those of us who are newer to CrossFit, and when you see muscle ups, think of bar muscle ups. Back in 2014, bar muscle ups weren't really a thing, and it automatically means ring muscle ups.
Yeah, so saw this workout. They finally announced it, took a look at it. Initial thoughts. What were you thinking when you saw this workout?
I mean, you know what my thoughts were. 60 calories on the rower is not my friend.
And no break for the women this year.
No.
Everybody's doing 60.
Yeah, 60 right out the gate. So immediately I'm already on the back foot doing the workout next to you. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of doing this workout by myself now. And then 50 toe to bar for myself is a big number. Toe to bar and I have a love-hate relationship, so I knew I had to go into it with a certain strategy. And then from there, once it gets down to the 40s, smooth sailing. What about you?
Honestly, the first 4 movements of this workout, I very much love rowing. Toe to bar, I wouldn't call them a strength, but they are no longer an enemy. I feel better about doing them. Wall balls, feel at home doing those, and then cleans, steady as she goes. But the 20 muscle ups at the end of this workout, I knew for me that was going to be like hitting a little bit of a wall. So it was like, how fast could I try and get there? And then just chip away at ring muscle ups. Not typically been my friend, which does take us into a little bit of strategy and open workouts. We see and hear about what some of the past times were. Maybe that is in our minds. So you saw this workout. You already started to strategize a little bit. What was your strategy pre-workout?
So pre-workout for me is it's different than in years past for sure. With the delusions of going to the games far gone from my head, I knew that I just wanted to make it a tough workout and put my stamp on it and be like, okay, I did that to the fullest extent that I had. And so that was my goal. So looking at that, muscle ups, ring muscle ups, not really on the table for me, just for shoulder longevity. So my goal was just to get through the calories at a good pace that I could be proud of. The toe to bar, finish them without having to do too many singles. That didn't really happen. Wall ball shots and big sets. And then those cleans, just, cleaning up the reps at the end there. So, those calories, you don't want to blow up in the beginning, right? Now, what type of pace are you looking at as a big-bodied man?
Yeah, so for me, big-bodied man, I wasn't 100% sure what the pace would read, but I knew I could push it. And I settled into about 1450, and that actually felt pretty good. And then for me, I wanted to try and hold bigger sets on toe to bar. For some reason, I'm an athlete who likes to try and do some bigger sets, and maybe it's a little bit longer rest. But my goal was sets of 10 there. Wall balls, see if I could do that in 2 sets. Cleans, we're gonna be steady singles, and then see what we had left in the tank. For muscle ups at the end, singles, doubles, triples, anything that can get me up on top of the rings was gonna be good. So that was my strategy going into it. We recorded the workout. We're gonna watch it along with you all and comment on it as we go here. So let's take a look at how 23.1 went for the two of us. So we're strapping in. We've got ourselves 60 calories. You've already heard Chelsea's theme or thoughts on this one. I took a peek over at her rower when I was about 40 calories in.
Yeah.
And I think yours was at like 27, 28.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I got her on this workout.
Well, it's really just, it's too much for me. 60 is just out of the range where I'm going to like really throw my full like sprint effort into it. I think 45, 50 is a better range for me to really like hammer down without the wheels falling off. So like in the beginning here, I was maintaining like 1100 pace and I was like, all right, that's not going to keep going. But the goal was just to keep probably an average of 950 with the strokes per minute staying below 30 for sure.
That's something that draws my attention right out of the gate here. Obviously, I'm a bigger bodied athlete. It almost looks like you're going 2 pulls for my 1. Now,
Yes.
this is obviously dependent on the type of rower you are. Some folks like to turn the damper down a little bit, and they like to turn the strokes per minute up. So maybe their turnover rate's a little bit faster, but they still feel comfortable breathing. Sometimes I think bigger bodied athletes like myself I like a slower stroke rate,
Yeah.
but that means I'm driving really aggressively into the machine to try and get the most out of each pull. Both can work, just depends
Yeah.
on what type of athlete you are.
Yeah, because you were at like 25 when I noticed, and then I'm over here at we're both at 26 right now. I could sense you next to me, and I was like, all right, his strokes per minute are good, and I was proud of myself for not burning out, because I've been known to hop on a rower and act like I'm like, I don't even know a great rower, but Jason Khalipa, hopping on the rower and just going ham. So I was proud of myself for that, but you were way slower in your strokes per minute. I was like, I can't match that. I'm not going to go anywhere. Yeah. My average will go so far down.
So tell me, what is going on in your head when you're thinking about breathing and the rower here? Because you hear a lot of people talk about breathing with the movement. It's the first movement of the workout, so you don't want to blow up. So is there something that you're focused on or thinking about with your breathing so you're not hyperventilating or getting breathless this quick into a workout?
Yeah, so with this one, and honestly with any open workout, I'll start the workout and then my anxiety will kind of kick in, and the butterflies in the chest will start to hit, which I'm not a super fan of. So I like to get some good exhales in to kind of clear out that carbon monoxide, pull down the parasympathetic, and then make sure that I'm not hyperventilating.
Yeah, I agree. I've always been one who likes to breathe out when you're actually putting some force or energy into the machine, the bar. So for me, as I'm pushing my feet into the rower, I think about breathing out, and then I breathe in as I'm going back to the flywheel. So it looks like I hopped off the rower there, right in that 240, 245 mark.
Yeah, I had a whole another minute on the rower.
Yeah, that 60 changes the workout because it is the same number of calories for both men and women, which might impact your strategy on this one. A decent transition there to the bar. Jumped up, hit 10. It actually felt better than I thought it would. Usually, volume toe to bar in that short amount of time, 50, is a tough spot for me. I'd much rather take smaller sets, go do some movements, and come back to it. So this was a nice opportunity to practice some of the training that we've been doing a ton of toe to bar in our open prep cycle here with Greater Culture.
I took a solid 30 seconds to chalk up because I couldn't feel my arms. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to need this.
And that's a good point when you think about damper setting. Sometimes people like to throw that damper way up high and crank on it. There is the trade-off where it can fatigue your grip a little bit more because there's a little bit more effort being put into those forearms each time. So something to think about when you think about your damper setting. So toe to bar, what are you thinking about when it comes to either the technique, the movement, or just your sets when you're looking at 50 toe to bar?
Well, I knew I couldn't do more than 3 at a time and hope to maintain 50. So that's where I went, first of all, was breaking it down into manageable sets, which is what I would suggest to anybody. Back in the day, I would have hopped up there and done 15 and then done singles for the rest of the time. So definitely want to break it down so that you can maintain those sets for a while.
One of the things I really like about your sets here is you hit those sets, you drop, and it's a 1-2 back with your feet. You're right under the bar, and you're ready for the next set, because what can happen here is we do a set, we walk away, we go chalk, and next thing you know, I'm doing sets of 3, but with a 15-second break in between, and that time can slip away from us a little bit.
Yeah, I really tried to get in as many as I could in those 3s. I got to 27 before I chalked up again, so I went halfway. But really, the issue was my arms being over my head.
Yeah.
That fatigue had kicked in so much, I was like, geez Louise.
And if it looks like we're moving fast here, it is. We have the playback speed sped up just a hair here. So if you're like, wow, these two are absolutely crushing this workout, it's at a 1.25 playback speed here. So I made the transition over to the wall balls. Had a thought in my head, maybe you try and hang on for 40, realized 30 cleans were waiting for me, and opted out of that. I think wall balls, that is another one of those movements. It just depends on the athlete. If you can do 4 sets of 10 and have a pretty quick rest break, that is going to be a great strategy versus trying to hold on for some big set that might blow you up or make it where you're not able to transition into that next movement.
I don't trust anyone who's got a quick transition with wall balls, though. You tell me you can do 4 sets of 10 quickly. That's a liar right there.
Especially when it's the third movement in the workout here. And so this is a great opportunity, though, to think about what happens when you hit fatigue, whether it's muscle fatigue, heart rate is accelerated to a point where it's hard to do more than a single rep. Getting reps in is the name of the game. So even if you can just do singles and keep moving, that is a great approach. So as soon as a coach or somebody, a judge who's there with you notices, hey, they can't barely pick up the ball, jump up to the bar, just tell that person, fast singles, just jump up, get a rep, get right back to it.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't, I couldn't even get two together. You know when your feet are coming down and you've got no snap to get them back up? I was like, we got to go singles here. And that was at 37. And then I was just like, oh no, I have to do so many singles before I can just do some wall balls. I was looking forward to the wall balls, which I don't normally do. I just wanted to be done with this toe to bar.
Is there something that goes on in your head at that moment when you're like, ooh, like it's gone?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's like right after my feet hit, they'll come down. And it's like, do I waste the kip and not even make it count? And then it's just like, all right. And then once I'm at singles, it's really hard to go back to doubles or triples or anything after that.
Yep.
And then I missed my second wall ball shot. Had to no rep myself.
Honesty, integrity, all about it here. So I'm over here trying to work through this barbell. And one of the things I noticed is that the grip was starting to fatigue here. And after doing the wall balls, the rowing, and even in the toe to bar, singles was what I was doing, and I ended up going with this approach of like 10 singles to get me to 10.
Yeah.
And then I took a little extra rest there. And you can see that going on right here. A nice little contemplation of life, looking back at the clock, seeing what's going on. It's at this point in time where I started to think about what's coming up next. And for me, it's the ring muscle ups, which are not only a physical but a mental challenge as well. So you're kind of like, all right, I want to give myself a chance, give myself some time there, but also, I got to finish up with this movement in front of me.
Yeah, that's the tough part about these workouts, when one or two of the movements isn't like, you got to be real fresh for it.
Yeah.
You can't really give your full devotion to those other ones because you're worried about that last one that you're coming up on.
Yeah, and it's funny because, people talk about this idea of a wheelhouse workout or things they really like. In no way, shape, or form would I call this a wheelhouse, but if there was not ring muscle ups at the end, I would have really loved this workout. And so let's see, finish up with the bar around 10, 15, 10, 20. So now it's that time where, I want to make all these reps count at the end, so we'll see what that transition looks like before I even jump up there for my first attempt. And now you're on the barbell, and this is something that you feel very good about.
Yeah. When there's a bar like this at the end of a workout or like a partner workout, my favorite thing to do is just pick it up and hold on for dear life.
And also for you in the strategy, knowing that this is the last movement for you essentially in the workout, what did that do for you in terms of like the pace and what your goal was with the barbell?
So in those first few, it was like, oh, yeah, this is going great. I can definitely rip these for a while. And then I finished that 9th one and I was like, oh, wait, my arms still feel like shit. And so it was tough to like, I was trying to decide, do I go to singles or do I stay with these triples? But if I had gone to singles, I would have rested even more. So I was like, I still got to get some work done doing 3 at a time.
Yep. And I took about what looked like a 30 to 40 second rest there, which is actually not quite as long as I thought. It felt like a while. Was able to hit a set of 3, so I was really happy with that. And I think from here on out, it's all doubles, which, each one of these very effortful for me, not wanting to get a no rep. So at this stage in the game, the mindset shifts and it's a matter of just how many can I get in before the 14-minute mark and try my best to not get no repped. So you're coming up on the home stretch here, a couple reps to go. And for folks who may not be able to get a ring muscle up, your score is how quickly you can get through that barbell, which makes that last movement there for you with those cleans all the more important.
Yeah, and I would suggest anybody watching this and watching me and knowing that I'm not doing the muscle ups, push it harder than I pushed it. I'm definitely resting a little bit too long here. I kind of know the bed I'm lying in though, so I'm not overdoing it is what I would say. There's definitely a version of myself that would have just probably done like 5s and really just crushed it.
Yeah, so it looked like you got it in there about 12:50.
Just right under the 13-minute mark, yeah.
Which is great. So if you had the chance, you could have attempted some muscle-ups there, which is, I think, another cool aspect of the Open for folks who maybe are interested in getting there first. You'll probably have a minute or so of chances to maybe see what you can do. And I'm getting ready to close it out here, sets of 2, kind of starting to look at the clock and see, hey, if I go and jump up on the rings every 20, 30 seconds, might give me a shot here at it. I want to say I finished with 13 muscle ups, which honestly for me I'm pretty happy with, and knowing that I had about 3.5 minutes, it's what it's going to be. So
for not having done volume muscle ups in a while, I think that's a pretty good accomplishment for the day.
Yeah, it was one of those that's a little bit of that mental and physical hurdle. Like we said, last year in quarterfinals, there was a workout. I had GHDs and ring muscle ups. I did that workout. It flared up a shoulder issue, which turned into being a tendon thing and basically shut me down for most of last year. So it certainly was something that I was like, oh, great. First workout, get a chance to maybe overcome some of that, which was good. It's feel okay, after this one. So we just had a chance to take a look at the workout. Looking back, any things you do differently strategy-wise, or maybe what would you tell folks as they're getting ready and preparing to take on 23.1?
So again, my mindset isn't like, crush the open mindset right now. It's put in as much effort as I can for the day on that workout and enjoy it. But anyone that's going in crushing this workout, I would definitely say push the pace on the rower a little bit higher than you think you should. Just not a ton higher, but just a little bit more. Still manageable sets on the toe to bar, big sets on the wall balls, and then those cleans, if you are unsure about where your muscle ups are going to take you, rip those cleans as fast as you can and just get through them so that you have as much time as possible on those rings. Don't think about, if I rip the cleans too fast, I won't be good at the muscle ups. Don't even worry about that. Just get through the cleans, get your tie break time, and then take as much time as you need on those muscle ups for sure.
Yeah. One of the things that comes to my mind, especially with chipper workouts, is there can be a moment of being almost a little bit demoralized when you're looking ahead and you're like, wow, I still have 30 more reps of this, 20 more reps of this. And it can feel daunting, especially with a movement like a toe to bar or a clean, where maybe you get to a point where you're doing singles, doubles, triples, and it feels like time is slipping away. So for me, when you get to those moments in the workout, I like to think about, hey, how quickly can I get back on that rep? And it usually comes back to not walking away from it. So if you're near the rig and you hit those singles on toe to bar, see if you can drop straight down. Try not to walk forward. Same thing with the cleans. See if you can keep your feet right under that bar. You don't have to chase the bar down, but as soon as you start taking 2, 3, 4 steps back, 2, 3, 4 steps forward, we lose even more time. So if you get to that point, stay underneath the bar, stay really close to it, so that way you can keep chipping away. And then the other thing I think about with something like this is, out of these 5 movements, there might be one in there that somebody really likes. So take advantage of that.
For sure.
If you like rowing, if you like wall balls, make that the movement that you make up a lot of time and gives you some chances at the other movements that maybe you're developing or working on.
Definitely.
When you think about a big workout like this, warming up for it, it's kind of everything in the kitchen sink in this thing. You're busting out machines, you got some gymnastics, you've got squatting, you've got some barbell stuff. How do you go about warming up for a 14-minute workout like this to make sure you're prepared but not maybe overdoing it?
Yeah, well, thankfully we had a nice warm day here today, so I didn't have to worry about getting my body temperature up. We're already warm. First though, definitely just a hip stretch, a good one, just getting into a lizard to make sure those hips are moving well for the rower, for the wall balls, and then making sure the shoulders are stretched, getting that chest stretched out so that you can get to that full extension and flexion with our toe to bar. And then from there, just working on connecting the core to your arms and your feet. That might sound weird, but you want to make sure it's all moving as one unit. So we're going to hold some planks, do some hollows, get in some fire hydrants with those legs, making sure everything's in that nice tight position before hopping on the rig or pulling out a barbell.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed, and I felt it especially in the cleans and then very much so in the muscle-ups, was my core got very fatigued. It's sneaky on the row, hinging, using the core, right into the toe to bar. There's a lot of core early on, and then even the barbell, it's a lot of hinging. You're getting that bar up into the front rack. So make sure your core is nice and warmed up and connect it like you said, because if we can stay nice and tight, keep some of that tension in our toe to bar, it keeps us from getting a little bit floppy, and those reps tend to not maybe go so well for us. So spend some time warming up, and honestly, the 60 cal to start your workout, that's a great way to get you into it as well. So get warmed up, make sure the hips feel good, make sure the core feels good, hit that squat, hit that front rack, test out those movements, and then know that row is gonna put you in a good spot to feel really good as you progress through the workout. So any final thoughts for folks as they get ready to take on 23.1?
With the open, you never want to leave anything on the table. You know, you never want to walk away from a workout and be like, oh, I could have pushed it a little bit harder here or there. So mid-workout, when those thoughts are coming in, like, this is hard, I would like to stop, I could probably use more chalk, I should probably rest. Like, let that other, little guy on the shoulder come in and be like, you don't want to have to do this workout again. Like, you better move your butt or you're going to have to do it again. And that sucks when you have to redo a workout. So push those thoughts out with the fact that if you go too slow, you'll feel like you have to redo it. And that's the worst feeling in the world. Let that be your motivation to put in your full effort.
Yeah. And I would say, just to piggyback on that, my final thoughts are very similar. If you have an intention or a goal for the Open this year, if it's to have fun, if it's just to throw it on with your friends, if it's your first time doing the Open, or if it's, hey, I want to make quarterfinals, make that the focus of your workout then. If it's to have fun, make sure you're smiling a couple times and then feeling the fatigue and feeling the really, challenging thoughts come in. If it is to make it to quarters, then yeah, there should be a strategy. There should be a lot of thought going into how you're going to attack this workout and working with a coach to strategize. So whatever your intention is, make that the focal point so that way you can get the most out of these workouts. 1 done, 2 to go. I feel like the separator workout came out week 1, so jumping right in the deep end with it, but nice work.
It's just going to be a bunch of shuttle runs after this.
That's right. Well, thanks, y'all, for tuning in for our post 23.1 breakdown. Hopefully you're taking something away that's going to help you to crush the Open workout this weekend, and we look forward to seeing you on the leaderboard.
Woohoo!